Hello, class. My name is Jose Bautista. The article we chose was Impact of Protein Supplements on Muscle Recovery After Exercise-Induced Muscle Soreness. The intent of this article was to see if any nutritional supplements would affect the muscle recovery after eccentric exercise. The nutritional supplements that they used were protein and carbohydrates, and also a placebo. This was a 3 day trial with 0 hour, 24 hour, and 48 hour periods, and they were tested on untrained healthy men. The overall of this test was they found no findings to if nutritional supplements had had an effect on muscle recovery. The supplements did not have a significant effect at the end. The research question would be, would nutritional supplements help in muscle recovery differently after exercise induced muscle soreness in untrained healthy young men? Some terms used were creatine phosphokinase, which is an enzyme that adds a phosphate group to creatine; eccentric exercise, which is an exercise that involves muscle contractions that lengthen a muscle; muscle soreness is when your muscle aches or stiffens for a few days following exercise. Well, overall, the purpose of this article was to see if there were any positive effects of adding a protein or carbohydrate immediately after doing an eccentric exercise. This was a between subject test. There were 3 day tests with the random order of the supplements 3 times to add the variety. The volunteers were also told to keep their normal diets, as well as they did not know if they were taking a protein, a carbohydrate, or a placebo. The eligibility for this were non-smokers, untrained 18 to 28 males with a BMI of 18 to 29. The exercise consisted of 10 sets of 10 reps eccentric knee extensions with a 1 minute break between each set.
I will be breaking down the discussion section of our research article. Specifically, I will be interpreting this study's outcome, limitations, and comparisons to related research. Looking at the data and results previously presented by my classmate, we can see that there are no prominent effects of protein or carb supplementation on muscle soreness or recovery. According to figures 1 and 2, CPK activity and level of soreness remained at similar values for each treatment: the placebo drink, carb drink, and protein drink. What this means is that regardless of the treatment consumed by the participant, the individual did not experience any relief from soreness. Just to clarify, CPK is referring to the enzyme creatine phosphokinase, which is being used in the study to measure amounts of muscle damage. Thus, the higher the CPK levels, the more muscle damage there is. Applying this to figure 1, we see that CPK levels remain consistently high for all 3 trial days, indicating no beneficial effects from protein or carbohydrate treatments. So, nutritional supplementation after exercise did not facilitate muscle recovery. A 2008 study with all female participants, unlike our chosen study, which used all male participants, corroborates our article in the sense that exercise-based muscle injury was not decreased with carb or protein consumption. Both studies successfully induced muscle damage after exercise, but the treatments failed to show any positive effects. Now, other studies ended up with results showing that protein or carb supplementation did decrease muscle damage, but researchers are still doubtful of this. There are a few reasons and limitations relating to why this research study yielded these results, and these aspects include the level of exercise intensity, the size of the treatment dosage, and the fact that all the subjects were healthy men. Many studies tend to administer more intensive exercise programs for participants to produce more extreme muscle damage before testing treatments, but this study induced only mild to moderate muscle damage. Also, participants were encouraged to exercise as strenuously as they were able to, but performance levels for the participants may not have been maximum efforts. This could have limited the extent of the results that came from the study. On a similar note, the amount of treatment given to the participants may have been too small of a dose to have made any outstanding effects. A 2006 study with the same foundation as this research used various doses of protein and found that participants who ingested more of a protein supplement had significantly lower CPK activity. So this study compares subjects who ingested 2 doses and subjects who consumed 10 doses of protein. And just from this, we can infer that the results between the two groups were very different. Since the study we selected used healthy males as test subjects, it isn't likely that we would see a lack of protein in the body. Therefore, a small supplemental dose of protein wouldn't really influence the subjects, regardless of if they had just exercised or not. Using healthy, free-living males in this study means that research is not applicable to the entire male population. Although this study did not yield the anticipated results that protein supplementation would assist in muscle recovery, future studies can still be performed with different parameters. These differences could include using an increased protein dosage, using more variable participants, or more closely monitoring performance levels.
So I will be going over the data and results, whether or not recovery takes place when taking protein or supplements. So there were 21 healthy male subjects in their 20s for the experiment, and none of them were obese based on the BMI. Here you can see the average range of their age, weight, height, BMI, lean body mass, and fat mass. Each individual served as their own control group, each taking protein, carbohydrates, and a placebo, which was just artificial sweetener. For the overall ANOVA of the subjects, there were no significant differences in subject characteristics or activities at baseline. So the main indices of the experiment was that overall, the experimenters were intending muscle damage on the subjects, performing eccentric exercises, which gave clear evidence of intended muscle damage by determining levels of creatine phosphokinase and muscle soreness, which both had a p-value less than 0.0001%, indicating that yes, indeed, muscle damage has taken place. And throughout the trials, it was found that on day 1, values were less compared to the values on day 2 and 3, and creatine phosphokinase increased in value for day 2 and 3 compared to day 1. So for muscle soreness and the result, although values were smaller for day 1 of the trial, with the 6 to 8 muscle strength exercises, it is mentioned that there were higher levels of muscle damage for day 1 compared to day 2 and 3, but for day 2 and 3, the subjects were feeling sorer. Significant differences in muscle soreness values between trials 1 and 2 had a p-value less than 0.0001%, and between trials 2 and 3 had a p-value less than 0.0002%, or equal to, But overall, sadly, although the eccentric exercise protocol effectively caused muscle damage, results concluded that treatment or supplements had no significant difference or aid in muscle soreness or recovery.
Main takeaways. The study investigated whether protein supplementation of 0.4 grams per kilogram of body weight immediately after exercise had an effect on muscle recovery or soreness in untrained young males aged 20 to 28. The researchers found that there were no significant effects on muscle recovery when compared to carbohydrates or the placebo. The results do not align with the results of a previous study, which shows that larger doses of protein can aid in muscle recovery. The results may have been affected by an important factor. The researchers advised the subjects to refrain from additional physical activity outside of the study. However, they did not consider their regular physical activity every day. These individuals were not monitored. They were not told to do less physical activity in their day-to-day, so that may have affected the results by increasing the amount of creatine phosphokinase in the blood and increasing the amount of muscle soreness or damage in the individuals. The intention of investigating protein supplementation in untrained young men was to investigate the effects of muscle recovery in more real-life situations. So how can we apply this to real-life situations. If the study had worked or proved that protein supplementation of 0.4 grams per kilogram of body weight aided in muscle recovery, many people would have accessible ways to recuperate after physical activity or exercise. For example, the average college man that goes to the gym would be able to supplement with protein right after his workout so that he could perform at a similar intensity for his next workout in 2 days. A young man with a physically active job, such as in construction or a delivery person, could use protein supplementation to improve muscle soreness before their next shift. Lastly, a young man in physical therapy could use the prescribed protein supplementation after a particularly hard session in order to feel less sore for the next one in a week. However, the study did not yield the intended results. More research needs to be conducted to determine the amounts of protein young men should consume in order to improve muscle recovery. More studies also need to be conducted on a variety of people, such as older men, younger females, older females, and trained individuals to determine whether these lower amounts of protein supplementation might work for them. And we got this information from Impact of Protein Supplementation on Muscle Recovery After Exercise-Induced Soreness by Burnley and others in 2010, published in the Journal of Exercise Science and Fitness, Volume 8, Issue 2, pages 89 to 96. Thank you.